JT Westerfield of Locked On Utes. I'm going to hand you the reins because this has been a tumultuous couple weeks, and I think there are a lot when it comes to the SEC and the Big Ten wanting multiple, college football playoff auto bids to NIL to paying players to directly through a university. There's a lot going on right now that's not good for college football. What concerns a university, a Utah, a Big 12 school most?
Well, first of all, it was a fantastic ad read, my friend. I thought that was very impressive. But getting to the question at hand, look, I think the thing that concerns me by far the most right now, and there is a lot that we could talk about, by far the biggest is the fact the SEC and Big Ten want 4 auto bids. You can rearrange schools into different conferences. I don't love it. We have players even opting out, like the Bear Alexander one in particular. Like, come on, man, you could be a part of a playoff team. You're still playing and you're going to completely quit on your guys. I can't stand that. But by far the biggest one is all the changes that have happened. The competitiveness of this sport still exists. Sure, 12 is a more inclusive field, but that still means any combination of 12 can get in. I just can't fathom a world where we have 4 auto bids. You're telling me Iowa last year would have gotten in from the Big Ten? And the argument is, sure, like the conference has changed. We've added more quality teams now. Yeah, but there's going to be years the conference is down and there's only going to be 3 good teams. And they just get a 4th one just because that goes against everything we love about sports. That would be by far the biggest thing. The SEC and the Big Ten, there's already an imbalance in terms of the amount of talent and recruits they can bring in, but you have to be able to go out and prove it on the field. You should not just get to have 4 teams in your conference just because of the logo. You should have to prove it on the field. I cannot be more vehemently against the idea of auto bids, especially that many. Auto bids for conference champion, love it. Auto bids because you just play in a conference that we deem tougher? No, absolutely not.
Well, auto bid for conference champion, that's been a contentious thing the last couple of weeks, knowing that I think it was one of the Barstool guys tweeted out, here are the 8 possible Big 12 champions. One of them has to be in the college football playoff. This is wrong. And in a league that cannibalizes itself, as the Big 12 does so well, you don't know the true strength of a Utah. Let's say Utah wins the Big 12 or BYU or Kansas State or Oklahoma State somehow. That you don't know their full strength against a Texas A&M unless you have those games in the postseason. That's the reason the 12-team playoff is built, is so that you have the opportunity to actually play those games out. Because I get it, like the strain of the Big 12 schedule. I know there's so many SEC pundits that, it's the toughest schedule. BYU has the 5th best strength of record in the country right now. In the SEC, you can get a 3-game break of Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, and South Alabama, and a bye week. You can get a month of not playing football, and that's
Florida after that.
Yeah, and Florida after that. It's very tough. Arkansas, it's very tough to get away with that in the Big 12, and more so. And this might take some people off. I think Missouri is probably the 4th best team in the SEC right now. I would put Missouri in that category. Maybe Ole Miss. It could be right there as well. 4th best team in the SEC. And then right. The Big 12 guy would want to say, I don't know if they could be the number 1 team in the Big 12. That's not the argument. What the SEC wants, they want 4 auto bids. They don't want to just beat the 1st best team in the Big 12. They want to beat, the 3rd, 4th best team in the Big 12 and show that, hey, we deserve to get a ton in no matter what, because we would beat the back end of the Big 12. That's the argument from the SEC. What I say is Colorado, Missouri square off tomorrow. Colorado, Ole Miss square off tomorrow. I cannot guarantee you that Missouri wins that. I can't guarantee you that Ole Miss wins that game after what we've seen them do this season. Colorado has the best receiving core in the country, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, the Heisman Trophy winner on its roster. They're the 4th best team in the Big 12 right now, if that. And I don't think we can guarantee that Missouri deserves an automatic spot over Colorado just because they have those 3 letters over their jersey.
You absolutely can't. I mean, I know Utah just lost at home to Arizona, but you can't tell me that these SEC teams would just
by the way, have Noah Fafita and Ted McMillan, the number 1 receiver in the country and a damn good quarterback.
A really good quarterback. So you can't just tell me that an SEC team would just waltz into Utah because they're an SEC team. You know what SEC team thought they could do that? Florida last year. And even with backup quarterbacks, Utah still mopped the floor with them. It is hard to win on the road in college football, no matter where you go, no matter who you play at. We saw Mississippi State already lose. We saw Alabama struggle even against a USF a few weeks ago. So like this stuff happens. You can't just say, oh, just because we're this team or we're this logo, like we're automatically better. No, you have to prove and you have to play it out on the field. And I just think it's so insane that just because like, oh, your logo says Ohio State, your logo says, how did Michigan do against Texas? I mean, isn't that where I like that we can actually see that, how they fare? And I know it's Big Ten versus SEC, but this is an example of like when you play quality opponents, like you're going to lose those games. It doesn't matter where they come from. There's not
TCU, Michigan, if you really want to. I mean,
TCU, Michigan, exactly. Yeah. So the fact that we could be stripping the sport of that competitiveness and like having to prove it on the field, and just because of a logo, you automatically get in. It just feels so icky, so awful. And that's the stuff where we're really tearing apart the fathom of what we love about the game, the competitiveness. The idea that if there were two Big 12 teams that went undefeated, like it wouldn't be, and then like one won the conference title, the other didn't. Like it shouldn't even be a question about the other one getting in. And like with the things they're trying to do with all these auto bids and everything, it would absolutely make it a question. And there's going to be years you get undeserving teams in. So I can't say enough. I really don't use the word hate much on my show, but I can't even tell you how much I hate this idea that you just because you have this logo, then you get to get in there. Even if you lost, like there's been years where Penn State, and that, yeah, sure, some of them they deserve to get in, but like if Penn State loses like 4 games and it's like, well, they beat these other Big Ten teams, but they're 0-5 against like their highest ranked opponents. No, they shouldn't get into me. So that's where I really can't stand this. And there's a lot of issues facing college football right now, but to me, this would be the one that would really ruin it.
Well, in terms of Utah, the rest of the way, we could be looking at an Iowa State that goes 11-1 with their only loss being Utah, and a Utah that ends up going 11-1 with their only loss being Arizona. That's still on the table. And if those two 11-1 teams square off in the Big 12 championship, it shouldn't be an automatic disqualifier that one of those schools can't be in the college football playoff. And the same goes for a Texas Tech who Utah doesn't play. If both those schools get to the Big 12 championship and Utah ends up 12-1, Texas Tech ends up 12-1 after the Utes win the whole thing in Arlington, you cannot tell me that the Red Raiders don't deserve to be in the college football playoff, and you can't disqualify them because you've given 8 auto bids to those two conferences, and it's just another example of the SEC and the Big Ten wanting to take over all of college football. JT, for those that are listening to Locked On Big 12, want to find more of your work, where can they go?
You guys can head over to Locked On Utes. I'm available on social media at Locked On Utes or at JT Wistersill as well. And Drake, it is a blast being on one of the 40 best football podcasts in America. Congrats, my friend.
Yes. I love it. Oh, it's so fun. That is JT Wistersill. This has been It Always Will Be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Utes and Dose Grande.